They say betrayal doesn't always come with warning signs. Sometimes, it's just a feeling, a static in the air, an off note in the rhythm of your life. And that's how it started for me. Her name was Katie. We'd been married for 8 years. She was a teacher, junior high English, and she loved talking about stories, irony, metaphors, characters. But she never told me she was becoming one. Not until much later, when I started piecing it all together. It began small. Little things. Katie's schedule had always been consistent. She left the house at 7:15 every morning and was home by 4:30 like clockwork. But then it became 5 o'clock. Then 6:15. Then, one Thursday, she didn't come home until after 8. I asked her where she'd been. She told me she had stayed late to help a former classmate revise his thesis for a graduate program. Said his name was Evan. I didn't question it. I should have. It kept happening. More late nights. More vague excuses. Then the changes started, subtle, but sharp. She was wearing perfume she hadn't worn since we were dating. Buying new clothes and saying they were for work events. Her phone lived face down. Notifications were silenced. She was careful, but not careful enough. Then came the message. It was a Sunday. She had gone to the farmer's market alone, something we used to do together. I was doing laundry when her iPad lit up. A text previewed on the lock screen. Thursday was perfect. Can't wait to see you again. Same place? No name. Just a number. I took a screenshot. My hands were shaking. That was when I knew. The next morning, I called a private investigator. His name was Chris. Ex-cop. Wore jeans like they were still his uniform. He didn't ask many questions. Just nodded, wrote things down, and handed me a contract. You want photos or just confirmation? Photos. Dates. Names. Everything. It felt like hiring someone to go dig up my own grave. But I needed the truth. I needed to be able to look in the mirror and say I wasn't imagining things. That I wasn't becoming my paranoid father, accusing my mother of infidelity every time she wore lipstick. Chris started following her 2 days later. There's a certain kind of silence that fills your house when you know something's wrong. It's not the absence of sound. It's the presence of something heavy, unsaid, thick in the air. Every footstep echoes. Every closed door feels like a lock turning against you. I tried to act normal. I still made her coffee in the mornings. Still asked about her day. Still kissed her forehead at night. She smiled sometimes, but it didn't reach her eyes anymore. One night, Chris sent me a file. Dropbox link. No subject line. Just a timestamp. It was like watching a movie I never auditioned for. Photo 1. Katie walking into a hotel on 37th Street. Photo 2. Same hotel. Different day. Entering with a man. Tall, blonde, mid-30s. Glasses. Photo 3. The two of them at dinner laughing. His hand on hers. Photo 4. Kissing. In the parking lot. Her hands in his hair. The hotel name was clear in the background. The timestamps matched the nights she said she was working late. Chris added a note. Name is Evan Walters. High school friend. Teaches at community college. Been meeting 2-3x a week. Rooms rented under his name. I couldn't breathe. Not because I didn't expect it, but because seeing it made it real. There's something final about proof. Something inarguable. I stared at that kiss for an hour. When she got home that night, I had already cleared the dinner table. She came in, dropped her bag by the door like nothing had changed. I wanted to ask her. Wanted to yell. Cry. Demand answers. But instead I nodded, asked if she wanted tea. She said she was tired. That night, I lay in bed next to her, her back turned, while I stared at the ceiling and wondered if she had ever done this next to me after being with him. I started to plan. Not revenge. Not yet. Just escape. Truth. Clarity. I made a folder on my laptop. Katie, truth. I copied everything. Screenshots. Photos. Dates. Call logs. I documented everything like a detective, even though I was the victim. And every night, I watched her sleep and wondered how long she had been gone before she actually left. It was a Tuesday afternoon when Chris called. "She's at the Hilton Garden on Pine," he said. "Same guy. Room 304. Checked in 20 minutes ago. Want me to keep eyes on them tonight?" I was sitting in my car in a grocery store parking lot. My lunch untouched on the passenger seat. "No," I said after a pause. "That's enough. I've seen what I need to see." "Understood." "You've got everything on the shared drive. If you want, I can dig into his background more." "No." "She's the story now. Not him." I hung up and sat in the car until my food was cold. The thing about betrayal is that it doesn't just shatter the present, it infects your past. You start looking backward, replaying old memories with a new lens. Was she texting him on our anniversary? Was that distant look during dinner a lie waiting to happen? Every laugh, every late night, every unexplained smile suddenly has a new narrator. I printed the photos. Not to confront her. Not yet. I just needed to hold them. To see the truth in physical form. I hid them in my briefcase beneath some old reports from work. The worst part wasn't the kissing. It was how happy she looked. It was like watching someone else's wife, except she was mine. That night, she came home humming. Humming. She told me she and a few coworkers had gone to a teachers' conference planning meeting. "You'd be so bored if you came," she said. "All curriculum jargon." I nodded and went back to my laptop. We slept in the same bed that night. Her back to me. Just like always. But I didn't sleep. I watched the numbers on the clock roll past. 1 o'clock, 2:30, 4:12. At 5:17, I got out of bed and went downstairs. I took the printed photos out of my briefcase and placed them in a manila envelope. Wrote her name on the front in thick black Sharpie. I wasn't going to give them to her yet. But I wanted her to see her name on something I controlled. Just once. That weekend, I suggested we go upstate. Just us. A little cabin we'd rented once during our second year of marriage. Back when we still laughed together. She hesitated. Said she had a paper to grade, a conference call, something else. But I pressed. "I miss you," I said. And that part was true. I missed the version of her I used to believe in. She agreed. I booked the cabin. Packed her favorite wine. We drove up in near silence. She stared out the window. I watched her reflection. We arrived before sunset. The cabin hadn't changed. Though it creaked the same way when you walked across the living room. I remembered how she'd once danced barefoot in front of the fire, laughing as I tried to keep up. I could almost see it. Ghosts wearing our faces. That night, she made pasta. We ate in front of the fire. She smiled, almost genuinely, when I said I still remembered her garlic trick, adding it after the oil cooled slightly so it wouldn't burn. We talked. About her school. About my job. We talked like we were strangers pretending to be familiar. Then she said, "You've been different lately." I shrugged. "Just tired." "Work's been a lot." She nodded. "You're not angry with me, are you?" That question sat between us for a long time. "Why would I be?" I said eventually. She looked down at her glass. "Sometimes I feel like you're drifting away." I almost laughed. Drift? I was already on another shore. That night, she reached for me in bed. Her fingers brushed my arm. It was automatic, half-hearted, like an apology given too late. I turned off the lamp and let the dark answer for me. In the morning, I woke up early. Took a walk alone. No phone. Just the sound of gravel under my boots and the cold air in my lungs. I felt strangely calm, like the fog was lifting. When I got back to the cabin, she was sipping coffee on the porch, wrapped in a blanket, watching the trees. "Nice walk?" she asked. I nodded. "You seem lighter," she said. "I am," I replied. She smiled, like she believed me, like she didn't know she was talking to a man who had already let her go. We got back Sunday evening. She kissed me on the cheek in the driveway like we'd just returned from a honeymoon. Monday morning, I left the envelope on the kitchen counter. Her name. Thick black ink. Bold lettering. I didn't stick around to watch her find it. I left early for work, drove the long way just to give her space to read what was inside. No note. No threats. Just photos. Timestamps. Screenshots. One final printout of the text that had started it all. "Thursday was perfect. Can't wait to see you again." That night, when I came home, she was sitting at the kitchen table, the envelope in front of her. Open. Everything laid out like evidence at a trial. She didn't look up when I came in. "How long have you known?" she asked, her voice low. "Long enough." She touched one of the photos. Her fingers trembled. "Why didn't you say anything? Would it have changed anything?" Silence. "I didn't want to hurt you," she said finally. That made me laugh. Not loud. Just a sharp exhale through my nose. "You didn't want to hurt me," I repeated. She looked up, and for the first time in months, I saw it. Regret. Not sorrow. Not guilt. Just regret for being caught. "Was it serious?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, I don't think so. I don't even know what it was." "You knew what it wasn't." She nodded. I sat across from her. "So what now?" she whispered, and I realized I didn't have an answer yet. Katie didn't speak much after that night. The air between us became quieter, heavier, but not in the way it used to be. This silence had clarity. No more pretending. No more fake smiles over dinner. I think she expected me to scream, or cry, or beg, but I'd already mourned her in silence. I had buried the version of her I loved before I ever printed those photos. We moved like ghosts. Two people going through the motions, sleeping in the same bed, but worlds apart. She stopped going out late. Stopped wearing perfume. I noticed, but it didn't matter anymore. A week later, I met with a lawyer. No drama. No fireworks. I wanted it clean. No revenge. No alimony battles. Just division. A slow amputation. The lawyer was methodical. Asked if I had proof. I handed him the folder. He looked through it, whistled softly. "She won't contest this. I'm not interested in ruining her," I said. "Just done." He nodded. "You're handling this better than most." Better. Or just numb. When I told Katie, she sat on the edge of the couch with her hands in her lap, like a student waiting for detention. "So it's over," she said. "It's been over. We're just making it official." "Do you hate me?" I looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, I felt nothing. "No, I don't hate you." That seemed to surprise her more than any shouting could have. I slept in the guest room that night. She didn't try to follow. The next few weeks moved in slow motion. Paperwork. Division of accounts. Splitting up furniture, dishes, the framed pictures on the wall that didn't mean anything anymore. She asked to keep the wedding album. I let her. I found a small apartment across town. Nothing fancy. Just mine. I didn't tell many people. Just my brother, my boss, and a couple of close friends. The rest would find out eventually. People always do. Katie didn't cry until the day I left. As I carried the last box out, she stood in the doorway. I know it's too late, she said. But I did love you. I believe you. Then why does it feel like I never existed to you? I paused. Because the version of you I love doesn't exist anymore. She cried after that. Not loudly. Just a kind of soft unraveling. But I didn't turn around. I drove away in silence. For the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was chasing clarity, or truth, or justice. Just peace. And that was enough. It's been 8 months. Sometimes, I forget what her voice sounded like when she wasn't lying. The apartment is small. The kind of place you only need to clean once a week. My couch doesn't match the rug. My coffee table is secondhand. But everything here is mine. Every square foot is free of compromise. The first few weeks were strange. I'd wake up expecting to hear her in the kitchen. Reach for her out of habit. Catch a scent on the street that smelled like her shampoo, and feel my throat tighten. But time moves forward, even when you're not ready. I started running again. Cooking for myself. I read more. I sleep better. There's a kind of peace that comes after everything explodes and you survive it. She called me once. I didn't answer. The voicemail was short. I'm sorry. I just needed to say that. She didn't call again. I saw Evan once by accident. Grocery store. He didn't see me. He looked smaller than I expected. More ordinary. He was standing in the checkout line buying wine and granola. I don't know if they're still together. I didn't care enough to check. I thought about confronting him. Tapping him on the shoulder. Saying something sharp and final. But what's the point? I already won. Not the petty kind of winning. Not revenge. Just clarity. I got out. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't destroy myself trying to fix something that wasn't mine to repair. A few friends told me I should try dating again. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. I'm not in a hurry to prove anything to anyone. One evening, I found myself driving past the house we used to share. It was dusk. Lights on in the windows. Curtains closed. For a second, I wondered what life looked like in there now. But I didn't stop. I drove on, windows down, music low, the air clean and cold around me. I didn't need answers anymore. Because sometimes, the loudest revenge is the life you build after the war is over. And mine was finally quiet.